Responsible adults aren't supposed to have fun. Wake up. We can do whatever we want. Drive racing cars to work, play golf in our pajamas, tennis on the bus, or baseball in our mother-in-law's living room. All you need is a Game Boy. It's a personal game-playing system with over 200 puzzle, action, and sports games to choose from. Hey, fun is your reward for growing up. Start playing.
You really got to get one of these.
Game Boy by Nintendo. Have you had your fun today?
Hello, welcome to the Retro Shed again.
Hello.
I'm Barry, this is
Izzy.
Izzy's here today. Josh is off doing something.
Yeah, I'm not.
Don't know what he's
Not
doing.
sure.
He's doing something, he's busy.
Yeah.
Anyway, today we were going to talk about
The
your favourite
Game
little
Boy.
console, the Game Boy. But
Game Boy.
before we get on to that,
Yeah.
I just wanted to have a bit of a rant,
Yeah.
sound off.
A bit of a...
Yeah, just
Yeah.
it's a question, right? Somebody might be able to answer this.
Yeah.
The weekend, I was in town,
Mm-hmm.
and we were looking at all the modern stuff that I'm really not that interested in. Nothing's taking my fancy at the moment at all.
No, same.
It's all a bit dull, all a bit samey, Destiny 2, yawn. And I saw a copy of FIFA 18 on the shelf. Now, not being much of a football fan, I don't really like football. Don't hate me for it. I just don't like the game. I totally appreciate football games and some of the old stuff that used to be out on the Amiga, like Sensible Soccer, which was great.
Yeah.
But FIFA, I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
I don't get FIFA at all, because FIFA is a game that EA reskin and relaunch every single year. So you've got, I don't know, FIFA 1, FIFA 2, FIFA 3, all
I can't even remember now.
They're
It's
all,
just been that
to me, they're all
many.
the same. We've got FIFA 15. Josh has got FIFA 15.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
It's
It's a bunch of guys kicking a ball around the field trying to get it into the back of a net.
Yeah.
It looks great, looks wonderful, and, you know,
And
I
it's
just
a good-
try and punch and kick everybody when I'm playing the
Yeah,
game. but-
half an hour, but that's pretty much all I can do on FIFA.
Yeah.
So
So I was looking at FIFA 18, and the price tag was, for the game,
yeah,
£52. Now, to me, that's a bit steep.
that is very steep.
It's a bit steep for a game that's going to be all over CEX
Yeah,
in about a month's time
For about
for
10.
£10 a copy, and there's going to be so many of them, they're going to be burying them like ET cartridges in the Nevada desert. And I looked at it, I thought, wow, £52 for a football game, that's a lot of money.
That is.
And then as my eyes scanned along, I found it's on my phone because I took a picture of it. Right, FIFA 18 for PS4 with a game add-on, 12,000 points, whatever
Which
that is.
I have not got a
What's
clue.
12,000 points get you? Different colour shirts? Shorts?
Probably.
Different trainers?
Shorts.
I don't know.
Yeah.
£132.98. Let me repeat that.
How much?
£132.98. There it is.
How?
There it is, right?
How?
I'll put it up on the screen. There it is. And you get 12,000 points with it. Now, can somebody tell me what those points get you? And
it's only
can
in-
somebody
is it
tell me
FIFA? Yeah.
who in their right mind is going to pay £132, not just for a football game, but for any game?
Yeah, I mean,
Minus a console, of course. If you got a console with it, I could
then
understand
yeah,
it.
that's a bit more, but
EA,
still.
are you mad?
I know.
What is wrong with EA? lost the plot.
£132.
Not only are they single-handedly, well, not single-handedly, almost responsible for ruining modern gaming,
Yeah.
DLC, microtransactions,
Oh,
everywhere.
add-ons. Oh, blah,
They're
blah.
probably the company that's made me not buy any AAA games now. I'm done
It's-
with AAA
it's
games.
difficult,
I think
isn't it?
Bungie with Destiny was the last one
That was mildly.
that really stuck it to me and made me think, do you know
Yeah.
what? I have been totally well and royally screwed over here. So
Yeah.
I won't be buying any new AAA games. I'm not interested.
No.
But £132?
This is now only.
Yeah, the
now
sticker says
only.
now only. Could you imagine walking into a game and thinking, what a bargain! It's
Yeah.
now only £132. And then, like, if you're a kid and your mum says, yes, but in a couple of weeks' time it'll be 20 quid in CEX. Yes, Mum, you've got a point there. But yeah, I digress. Anyone care to tell me
Why?
why FIFA 18 with how many points? My phone's gone off now.
1,200?
12,000
12,000.
12,000
sorry,
points. What do those
12,000.
points get you
I don't
that
know.
enhances the game.
Well, it says add-on, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
what could you possibly...
So the game add-on is $79.99, and the game is... So you're looking at £132, now only, £132 to watch a bunch of blokes run around a field kicking a ball. So what does it do to the game that enhances it so much?
I don't know.
And is there anybody out there that's paid £132 for FIFA 18?
I'd like to know.
Please comment below if you know anyone that's parted with £132 of
I just can't get over
hard-earned
that.
cash to play FIFA. Today, well, it's your idea actually, this one. You should tell them what we're talking about today. We are talking about
the Game Boy.
Game Boy, and this was Izzy's idea. She loves the Game Boy.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, have a confession to make.
Oh, no.
I have a confession.
Okay, go on.
And that confession is I don't really like... Stuff's going to come flying at me now. I don't really like little handheld consoles. They give me a headache. They give me a headache, right? And I don't like using them because they give me a headache. And they have since I was... must have been 14, 15 when the Game Boy came out.
Yeah.
And so the subject today is not one that I'm particularly knowledgeable about. I appreciate the technology and the contribution that these little machines have made to the gaming industry is absolutely remarkable. But they're not really my cup of tea. I'd rather play a full-size console
on a TV.
plugged into a TV. So
fair enough.
There's my confession.
Oh, okay. I'll allow it. Well, it's one that I chose to look at a few weeks ago, wasn't it? Really, I kind of mentioned it because I thought it does have its retro feel to it as well because it does go back quite far.
So I mean, just look at it.
I mean, yeah,
it's iconic.
It's the history of the wonderful Nintendo Game Boy.
Yeah,
it began 1970.
Wow,
1970.
That was before I was born.
Exactly. So it is retro.
We don't hear that very often in here.
And it was with the long-time Nintendo employee Gunpei Yokoi.
Gunpei. I can't pronounce his name. I'm sure his name is Gunpei Yokoi. I think.
Gunpei Yokoi.
I think. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Let's go with that. Yeah.
You may have heard of him before, actually, because we have mentioned his name a few times lately.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, I think we mentioned his name because he was the designer of the Virtual Boy. Help me out here, Virtual Boy. Yeah. So Gunpei designed the Ultra Hand toy. That was manufactured in 1970 by Nintendo.
Yeah.
And this was essentially a grabber kind of toy. It was like an extendable scissors grabber kind of thing, which was primarily designed to pick stuff up, including coloured balls, which Josh finds hysterical for some reason. It must be his age. But yeah, the whole idea of using an extendable hand to pick up balls, he kind of finds very funny. But Gunpei actually had a very long and distinguished career. Distinguished until a certain point with Nintendo, and he designed many of the iconic things that we associate and take for granted now. He invented the D-pad, the directional pad,
the D-pad
for the Game & Watch series, and of course he designed the Game Boy. And he was also the producer of the Kid Icarus games and Metroid.
Oh, right.
And sadly died in 2013 in a road traffic accident, and this was after he'd been a bit ostracised by Nintendo after the release of the Virtual Boy, which of course was a complete and utter flop.
Yeah,
he kind
disaster.
of he went into a bit of a sad depression, I believe, and he was killed roadside in a traffic accident. So yes, do you know what, Gunpei? We salute you. We love you. We think you're an absolute legend, and you've done some top stuff in the world of gaming. Yeah. Now, Gunpei actually designed, as I said, the Virtual Boy, which we actually cover in another video. There's a link to it there. Have a look at that. Check that out. Now, Game Boy wasn't actually the first handheld gaming console. If you take into account the world's first handheld cartridge-based machine was the Microvision, designed in 1979 by Milton Bradley, who we've also done a show on. I'll put a link to that as well. Have a look at Milton Bradley. Brilliant toy maker. They also released the Vectrex system, which we've also covered as well. I'm going to be running out of things
together, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good link actually. There's a link to that as well. And the Vectrex was actually kind of portable if you think about it, because it had a handle on the top.
True. So if you
needed
stick a
to plug
handle
it in,
on things,
though.
it's
if
portable.
You put a handle on the top. It's like mobile phones from when I was like 18 or 19. They were side of briefcases.
But it had a handle.
They were portable because they had a handle on the top. That's right, yeah.
The Game & Watch series was released in 1980, and it does actually fetch some big money today.
It seriously does,
you can find a nice one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Selected Game was released in 1981 by Entex.
That's rare.
It is, isn't it?
That is rare, yeah.
And then in 1989, we also saw the release of the Atari Lynx, which was the first handheld electronic game.
It was.
With a colour LCD display.
It looked awesome, actually.
Yeah, and it was released the same year as the Game Boy, actually, so it was quite a big competitor. And also, Game Boy's biggest rival was released in 1991.
I know what you're going to say.
Sega Game Gear.
Yeah.
Which was literally a portable Master System.
It was. It had the guts. Well, it had the same chipset as a Master System, actually. Do you know what? I was more of a fan of the Game Gear.
Was you?
As it had a large colour screen compared to the Game Boy. But as I said earlier, I was never really interested in getting one because I don't really like small screen gaming.
It was tiny.
The Game Boy itself was followed up by the Game Boy Color and then followed again by the Game Boy Advance in 2001 and the Nintendo DS in 2004. Now, incidentally, although I've said I don't like small gaming, I did actually buy a Game Boy Advance in 2001 or 2002 because I was flying to and from Thailand a lot. My dad was ill at the time, so I was on a plane an awful lot and I was bored to tears because it's like an 11-hour flight. I thought, what can I do? So I bought a Game Boy Advance with a copy of Gradius, which happens to be one of my favourite games of all time.
Good game.
And I couldn't see it. I couldn't see the screen because it's not backlit. There's me thinking the Game Boy Advance is going to be backlit because it's advanced.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Who's the name?
So I had to buy this little white LED thing on a stalk that you plug in. So I'm sat there on a plane, hunched over a tiny little white LED trying to play things. And guess what? I got a headache.
I'm not surprised.
And it wasn't from the gin and tonics either.
No. So back in 1989, Gunpei realised that the Game Boy needed to be small, needed to be light, inexpensive, and also tough.
It is tough as well.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. Plus, it needed to have a varied and a good range of launch titles, which is very important, really, to any console, because people will only tend to buy a new console if there's a handful of very good games on launch.
So many good consoles are sunk without trace because they didn't release the right collection of games for it on launch.
Yeah, people just wouldn't be interested. Yeah. Well, the Game Boy was one of the first consoles of the fourth generation of handheld machines, which ran from 1989 to 1995.
It did, yeah.
Gunpei was a fan of using cheap and readily available technology to keep those prices low.
Yeah.
So it was good that it was cheap, but
it is tough as well.
Yeah.
It's cheap, light and tough. There's a photograph I've got somewhere, I'll find it. There it is. There's a photograph of a Game Boy that I think has been out somewhere and it's suffered a direct grenade attack or an explosion or it's been set on fire, but there it is, look, and you think, wow, and it still works. The thing still works. It's absolutely incredible. That might be a fake photo, but I don't think it is actually. Game Boy managed to secure lots and lots of sales, even though technically it was not as superior as the Atari Lynx.
No.
Because the Lynx had a big colour screen on it. Now, the original grey Game Boy was released in Japan on April 21st, 1989. Such a long time ago. I was ripping around the neighbourhood on my BMX back then, actually. And in the UK, it was launched in September 1990, and it was based on the popular Zilog Z80 processor, which was used in loads of home computers back in the 80s. The Spectrum, Amstrad, MSX, they all had the Z80 in them. And it had a black and green LCD display, and games came on very small ROM-based media cartridges. And the Z80 CPU gave the games a very distinctive visual style, a bit like the NES, who also had a Z80 in it. The screen was tiny, and the graphics were a dull shade of dull, and the background had a resolution of 160 by 144 pixels, as I look at my notes. Four shades of dull. But do you know what? This thing sold like absolute hotcakes. It actually sold like mini SNES classics, to be fair with you.
The Game Boy came packaged with one built-in game, actually, and this was Tetris.
Yeah. Not all of them did, I don't think. Not all of them did, but many of them did come with Tetris.
There was an option to buy without, but then also with. So, I mean, probably more was sold with, because Tetris was amazingly popular.
Incredible game.
And addictive, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's a whole history behind Tetris, isn't there?
Yeah, and people were buying the Game Boy just to play Tetris.
Yeah.
It was the first game to actually be compatible with the Game Boy link cable, and it allowed two Game Boys to connect together for multiplayer purposes. So it was quite sociable, really.
We have, but we've discussed this. I don't know how you play Tetris against somebody. I suppose it's the first to complete a level, really.
Maybe.
Because the computer selects what shapes to throw down at you. So
maybe the first who fills up the screen gets... I haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
The game was actually designed in Russia in 1984 at the Soviet Academy of Sciences.
1984?
1984.
What film was released in 1984?
Just really name one. Good one.
Ghostbusters.
Really?
1984.
See, I said a really good one.
Yeah, correct answer.
Updated versions were later released for the Game Boy Color and the Virtual Boy.
Yes, which incidentally made people throw up. So never mind of having headaches, you actually had a headache and you threw up.
Oh, there you go.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Some of the cartridges for the Game Boy contain a small battery and a flash memory to save your game progress as well, once the Game Boy has turned off.
I did wonder how you saved your games on the Game Boy, actually.
It was really confusing because you do have to do the risk of, is it going to save? Turn it off and then turn it back on. Oh, it's saved. But once that battery does die, you actually do lose your game save.
No need!
Yeah. You can actually open up that cartridge and replace the battery, but only if you're handy with a little soldering iron.
Which the majority of kids probably aren't. No, they're burning the house down trying to change that. So don't try this at home, kids.
No. But disclaimer right there.
Yeah. Oh. The design of the Game Boy is pretty clever, actually, and the Game Boy Power Switch was designed in such a way that you could not actually pull a cartridge out of the machine when it's switched on.
Which is very useful.
Which is really, really good, because kids seem to have a nasty habit of doing that.
Yes.
And it's really not good for the console or the cartridge, because you could end up corrupting the data on the cartridge or absolutely completely destroy the console itself. So I think that is a very good idea.
It is. There are approximately 2,000 games available for the original Game Boy. Yeah, it's a lot.
You need a big bag to heft that lot around with you.
Yeah. It was probably due to the sales of the console, which actually topped over 200 million units.
God, that's a lot of them, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it did include the Game Boy Color. So
yeah, okay.
Kind of, but still,
it's
a lot.
200 million Game Boys. Wow.
Yeah, I know. Launch games included Tetris, Super Mario Land, tennis, baseball, and Alleyway. Yakuman was also available, but only in Japan.
Why is all the good stuff only out in Japan? I don't get it. It's just not fair.
Probably because most of the best games are made in Japan.
Yeah, it's not fair, is it? No. They get all the cool stuff. Like the when I was a kid, I wanted the PC Engine. Could you buy it over here?
No,
you couldn't get it over here. They never released it over here. But so while Atari and Sega's machines boasted expensive hardware and colour displays, which incidentally kills battery life, you could get over 30 hours of gameplay from one set of AA batteries on the Game Boy, which made it a much better console if you're actually lugging it around, travelling around. However, the Lynx, you were lucky to get 5 hours out of 6 AA batteries. So it absolutely killed batteries. Having a colour screen makes all the difference.
Yeah.
The Game Boy also had the classic 8-way directional D-pad, which Yokoi designed originally for Game & Watch. And it had just one A and one B button with start and select.
So
and that's
simple.
why it's so easy to pick up and start playing.
Yeah.
Anyone can pick up a Game Boy and you don't have to memorise all these. It's just a directional button and 2 buttons
on the sides, and it's too much,
It looked like a Game & Watch to so many people.
Yeah. Oh, and also an interesting fact was that for the first time there was a console that actually interested female players.
No, get out of it.
Yes, me.
No. Girls don't play games.
I did. I'm one of the rare ones.
It didn't back then.
No. In 1995, Nintendo claims that 46% of Game Boy users were actually female.
Well, it should have been called Game Girl.
Game Girl
Boy.
Game Boy / Girl.
Because they call it Game Boy, don't they? So it should have been called Game Girl Boy.
Game Girl.
Yes. Sorry.
It was actually a major leap from the usual 29% on the NES.
Wow.
I know. Also, in 1993, Russian cosmonaut Alexander Serebrov took his Game Boy into space, which is awesome, on the Soyuz TM-17 mission to the Mir space station.
Oh my god.
I know.
So I have a question here, right?
Okay, go on.
So when they factor in all the payloads and all the weight and all the fuel and everything that goes onto a rocket or the space shuttle, they calculate it down to the nearest gram.
Really?
So how on earth did Russian cosmonaut Alexander go, I'm just going to take this, or perhaps he didn't tell them.
He might
perhaps
not.
he actually smuggled it on board. And my second question is, didn't he have anything else better to do up there?
Oh no.
Surely they go up there to the Mir space station to do experiments and
Yeah.
whatever people do up in space stations. But
the travelling
was
time.
He just floating
to
around,
and from, just playing the Game Boy.
Playing on the Game Boy, and didn't one of them go, "Where did that come from?" in a Russian accent, which I can't do.
Where did that come
Yeah.
from?
I'm just going to take my Game Boy. Yeah, okay, that's going to cost us an extra couple of thousand. I don't know what Russian.
Worth it though. Do you know how much it sold for?
No.
$1,220.
I thought it'd get more than that.
Yeah. It's
I wonder
okay.
what it sold. Is that your chair making funny noises?
That was. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Your chair's rotating and making strange noises. Okay, well, that is absolutely amazing. The fact that he managed to smuggle it up there. I wonder if the Russians actually know he did that.
Probably not.
So, did you know? Here you go. Here's another fact coming back at you. In 1992, excellent British coding house Codemasters reverse engineered the Game Boy and produced the Game Genie cheat cartridge that allowed players to give themselves infinite lives and poke around and do all the cheats and things. It was like a big cartridge thing that you slotted your cartridge into, and the whole lot plugged then into the top of the Game Boy. And that in 1998, Nintendo launched the Game Boy digital camera and thermal printer that allowed users to take low resolution photos of themselves and print it out on silver toilet paper. So,
why?
Here's another question. Why? Why on earth would you want to do that?
Yeah.
It's not like you're sending it digitally to someone and go, "Hi." No, here's a piece of silver foil paper, a bit like the ZX Spectrum printer with a picture of me on it playing Mario.
That's really odd.
I can't tell you whether it's... I'd be interested to see whether it's sold or whether it's a complete flop.
I haven't heard of that. So really, that was pretty much inventing the selfie then, wasn't it?
Well, I suppose Nintendo...
Kind of.
We can blame Nintendo for selfie sticks and all these annoying people on holiday going...
I personally don't see the point in that at all.
No.
I suppose I can see why kids liked it, but I don't think I do.
I don't get it.
No. The Game Boy did have a large selection of third-party hardware and add-ons because it didn't have a backlit screen.
No, tell me about it.
Which limited, where you could play it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like Under the Quilt or, like you, Dark Aeroplane.
Dark Aircraft. Yeah.
Many companies actually did make the magnification light add-ons for the machine after the Game Boy came the release of the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advanced, and Color introduced games such as the amazingly popular Pokemon Gold and Silver series.
I don't get it.
Which are awesome. They were some of the best selling games for the Game Boy.
I've never understood Pokemon.
Have you not?
I don't get it.
Oh, I love it. See, this is actually getting into my era of gaming now because I own both a Colour and a Game Boy Advance. The one major plus point for the Colour was that it was also compatible with the original Game Boy.
Okay,
So, which was a first for
Brilliant
handheld
selling
consoles.
point.
Yeah, it helps it stand out above its competitors, really, because, that was what people want.
You can't beat buying a new console and having it play all the games that you've already built.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why so many companies don't factor that in.
So it doesn't keep your loyalty. I feel loyal to them if I can keep the consoles going.
Absolutely.
So by
Apple have figured this out years ago. Like, consoles, make them all backwardly compatible, and everyone's a happy chappy.
And they will love you for it.
Yeah, exactly.
The Game Boy Color was discontinued shortly after the release of the Advance, I believe, and it introduced a new era of games. Plus, a backlit screen was introduced. Yay!
Which gave me a headache even faster, probably. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That was a huge step for Nintendo and their handheld consoles, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And this is the thing, actually. Nearly 30 years later, the Game Boy is still a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as iconic as the iPod.
It is,
isn't it?
isn't
If you take a look at that machine,
it's just...
even if you don't know what it is, you know what it is, if that makes sense.
You just instantly recognise it, don't you?
Yeah, I once read that people all over the world that have never seen a James Bond film, if they hear the music, they know it's a James Bond film. So I think if I was to just get a blank piece of paper, right, and draw a square, a cross and two round circles and go, what's that? Everyone would just go, oh, it's Game Boy.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like if you just draw a rectangular screen, do a circle, another circle, and go, what's that? Everyone goes, it's an iPod.
Yeah.
It's just, it's just...
Everyone just knows.
It's absolutely iconic.
So simple. Yeah.
I think people were so attracted to it, they love it to bits. I mean, even down to the colourful, bright little cartridge cases that the games came in. They were just so funky, weren't they?
Yeah.
And there was an episode of The Simpsons, actually, that featured Bart playing on a Game Boy in one episode. Yeah. So it's definitely ingrained in cultural phenomenon, definitely.
Yeah. I still love it to this day, and it provides such wonderful childhood memories for me. And I think the beauty of it is that it's one of those ones, again, that will just never age. I think,
no, it's fabulous, isn't
people still want to play it to this day.
Yeah.
And I actually noticed recently there's been an add-on made so that
it has for smartphones.
Yeah, you can plug your smartphone into the Game Boy style dock, and you can emulate all of these.
I did like the look
games.
of that, even though I'm not a massive fan of little screen gaming. I thought that's actually quite funky.
So it obviously
like
proves
that.
people still love it.
Yeah,
So-
no, it is. I mean, okay, I was taking the mickey out of it earlier, saying it's a dull shade of dull with a dull background. But yeah, I can see, my friend Stu lent us this one.
Yes, thank you.
You're not getting it back, Stu.
No,
You're not getting it back.
was
That's
a
it. Say
very
goodbye
vague
to it.
word.
There it is. Wave goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Let's take a look at it. Let's have a quick look at it, shall we?
Oh my god, this is so cool!
Right, we've got, we're running Game Boy Emulator here actually, because it's much easier to show you the, there you go.
Wow.
So we're playing, what's this? Is this
Super Mario
This is Super
Land.
Mario Land on the Game Boy. And do you know what? For grayscale, it doesn't look too bad.
It doesn't, does it?
It looks better than I remember, actually.
Oh, yes.
I can tell you played this before. I've never played this.
Have you not?
No.
I love it. I can never get tired of it.
I mean, do you know what? Those visuals aren't bad, are they?
Nope.
They're really not bad.
They're for its age. I mean, it could easily keep me entertained. Oh, that is just me, so... Oh, come on. There we go. Still get frustrated with it as well, which I think is a good thing.
Now, this is one of my favourite games, Gradius, actually, or Nemesis. I've never seen this.
I've never seen this
at all on Game Boy, so it'll be interesting to see. I think this is the intro sequence, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah. Oh.
Do you know what?
Oh no.
That's really detailed, considering it's only like, I don't know, 150 pixels across and up and down.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Right, what's shoes?
So, is it?
Ah! There's something chasing me.
I don't recall Gradius ever playing like this.
Do you not?
No, so Gradius doesn't play like... You're not chased by one of the motherships, so obviously this is a different version of Gradius from what I know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite intense, this is.
Yeah. So we're running this on an emulator on a PC so we can get some good quality footage. So you've got cursor keys, Z and X, and out of interest we're using an emulator called Visual Boy Advance. It's really good actually.
Oh, see that?
Yeah.
Oh, I picked up the bat. I didn't even know I did that.
Can't beat a good baseball bat. I've always said that.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, no.
Oh, you lost the baseball bat.
I did. There we go, got it back. Yeah.
Do you know what? It ain't bad, is it?
I'm really liking
Considering
this.
there's only 4 shades of grey there. I mean, look, it's so detailed.
Oh.
Just hit them. Try the Z button. I think the Z is probably swinging.
Yeah.
There.
You can't come near me. Ha ha. I love
Is that Link in an egg?
It's Link.
Is Link in that egg?
It's an egg Link.
1993. Recognise the music?
Yeah. Oh, I love the music. Oh, it's me.
Look at it.
Oh, so different from what it is now, isn't it? Wow.
BZ or X, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, she got to never wake up. Oh, wow.
No Navi?
No. Yep, this is going way back.
Have you played this before?
I've played a little bit of it, but not too much. I think the first Zelda I played was... What was the first Zelda I played? It was either Ocarina of Time or Four Swords. Oh, I've got my shield! That's a lot easier than Ocarina of Time. There we go.
Is, yeah.
Oh. This looks pretty heavy. Oh no, I can't lift it.
Okay.
Yeah, this is very,
What's that?
It's an evil chicken.
Is it?
Yeah.
What's evil about it?
Just look at him.
Well, he's the size of you.
Need I say more? Exactly. He's huge. He's a robot chicken.
Right, there you go. Wonderful look at the Game Boy there. Brilliant.
I love it. I love it.
So, normally at this point, I will say to Josh, so, what do you think of the Game Boy? Izzy, what do you think of the game? Considering you were a huge fan back then, what do you think of it now?
I could still pick one up now and play it like I did back then. I really could. And I don't think that will ever change. I think my love
last another 30 years, you think?
It will. I think it will just, it will just never age.
Do you think in 2050 something, people will be going, look at these? That's if we're still alive and Kim Jong-un and Trump hasn't destroyed the planet by then.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I will always love it. And that's why I wanted to do an episode on it. Just to, even for people who may have never heard of it, now they know.
Please comment if you've never heard of the Game Boy. I would love to meet you. Where have you been for the past 30 years? Or if they've never
played it, so look, they've never picked one up before. Now they know how awesome it actually is.
It is wonderful. I don't think it'll ever grow out of popularity, really. I mean, typical Nintendo, it's worth more the older it kind of gets, isn't it? It's like the N64 now, I think, is more loved and cherished
than it was,
and sought after than it ever was back in the day, you know.
And that's awesome. I love that.
But poor old Yokoi. I mean, we salute you, mate. You did a damn good job with that console. I think it's remarkable how many it sold. Yeah. Just a shame you messed it all up with the Virtual Boy, really. I don't know what on earth you were thinking with that one.
Everyone makes mistakes. We'll just brush over that one.
That was his most famous release of all time, and the Virtual Boy was the most famous flop of all time, actually. So, right, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Anything else you want to say? We are in Manchester this weekend for Play Expo. I think you're coming along, but you're shopping, aren't you, with Mum? So you won't be actually in the exhibition with me and Josh, but we're looking forward to that. But you will be taking part the Kapow Retro Station, which is the weekend after. Matt, we're really looking forward to that, actually. That is going to be really good
excited.
fun. I'm going to need plenty of Red Bull.
Yes, and coffee.
I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it.
Keep nudging you.
You'll find me curled up under a pool table somewhere if there is such a thing. So we're looking forward to the Kapow Retro Station. If you do live in and around the West Midlands of England and you've got nothing to do, weekend Friday the 21st of October, get yourself over to the station in Cannock. It's 24 hours of retro gaming, and awesome. I can't think of anything I'd rather do for 24 hours.
No, me neither.
Gardening, forget it. Decorating, forget it.
Housework.
Retro gaming, yes. Absolutely. So if you can make it, come along. And of course, it's for a good cause. It's raising money for Macmillan Cancer research, and what better way of wasting your time retro gaming than raising money for cancer research. So that's absolutely awesome. Thank you very much for joining us. Please give us a thumbs up if you liked the video. Give us a thumbs down if you didn't. And say hello. Leave some comments, what you thought. Yes, say hello. We're on Facebook, and we will see you again soon, when I think Josh doesn't want me to tell them what we're discussing next, actually. Oh, okay. It's the see you later. Bye. Now, yes, I wanted to have, before we speak about the subject that we were going to speak about, why have I got my glasses on? Thought I couldn't see the screen properly from here.